Hello. Hello. Thank you very much for being here. Let's talk about the new moon. Okay, so we got a new moon in Taurus on the 26th. Okay, so 26th of April is never going to be the end of anything. It may feel like things are going up or down. It may feel like something's ending. There might be a feeling like, oh well, that was it. Well, that was it then. But it's not. It's like a loose feeling of completion, but it isn't. Basically, what the moon has done is it's gone through the full first cycle. So, since the beginning, end of March on the 28th, it started its first cycle for this year. So it went from Aries to Aries, and now it's going into Taurus. And the feeling might be, well, that's done and dusted then. Well, that could have been better. Or, well, I knew it wouldn't work the way it would work. There is a feeling in the air of ending, but it isn't actually that. It may feel like, oh, we'll clean up, you've done what you could. It would be really, really, really kind and gentle and generous to spend this time chatting with people, because actually Taurus energy is done surprisingly well during the last month. So I'm feeling that, say, if you want to go into this ascended Taurus energy, you can. And this basically means that the adjacent sign is Gemini. So during this time, it's really nice to talk to somebody. It's really nice to just chat and just say sweet nothings to someone. And to chat as if you like talking to your grandma or something. Like, you just get cozy next to somebody. And touch is like a beautiful, mysterious thing during this time. You just sit next to them and you like touch shoulders and you just tell them, hey, I never thought that my project would work out, but it actually has. Or like, wow, I actually never thought that I would do this, but I finally discovered the passion and strength to do it. Basically, this is the time. Okay, if we're talking about men and women, quite often after sexual experience, a man feels sensitive, okay? And Aries is the most phallic energy in the zodiac. It's a very phallic masculine energy. So we're just being through Aries, and the energy here is that, oh well, I guess that's it. That's the energy that we're under. And it's not bad, and it's not anything uncomfortable. It shouldn't be unconfident. Basically, it's time to chat. It's time to roll over and spoon each other. It's time for hugs and cuddles. It's a very interesting time to gently caress oneself or another person, to gently hold something, to hold an animal or hold a child. That way, that is really, really pleasant and loving and placid. It's a very, very good time for cuddles. It's an amazing time for that hot cup of tea and that blanket. It's a very interesting time to roll over with a book, and have a look at the sky. It's a very, very beautiful time to relax on the sex drive, to relate more to the body and its needs, almost as if it is old, almost as if it is very fragile, because we did create a new bang, a new opportunity, a new optimism during the Aryan cycle after the Aries new moon. And now it's almost like that crafted energy that we've created, that new frontier, is just needing to set. It's as if you just made a vase. You just blasted out a vase from, say, for example, a ceramic vase from clay, and now it just needs to set. It just needs to put itself together. It just needs to become hard. It just needs to regain its courage, regain its strength. So that's basically what you're looking at. It can also feel for many of us that even though we've done the thing that we wanted to, that it's not enough. Especially for very courageous or very masculine people, you might feel, oh my gosh, I've done the thing, but for some reason I feel that it's only half the thing. Or like, I thought it would actually not work out the way it did. I actually thought it would give me a lot more experience. I thought that this deed that I did finally worked myself up and did it, or I worked out so far, I've really gotten my body to a really good level. You might actually find that there is almost like a lull, and that I could not really explain it with any other way than the sensitivity that comes after intercourse for men. That's basically the energy that we're in at the moment. It's a very nice moon to nurture. It's a very good moon to start cooking more, to make sure that everything's tidy, everything's placed together, but also not to concentrate on it, because once again, Taurus as an energy has done very well, and it's ready to commune. Very, very good to rub somebody's feet while chatting to them about their life. Very good idea to take yourself to someone's house who you trust and who you care for. It's an interesting experience maybe to touch somebody gently, to massage, to care for, as if a wife or a husband, or as if a friend, a dear, maybe, mystery person. But there is something very, very kind and loving. Everybody's sort of like holding each other as a little ecosystem during this week in general. As I'm feeling, this moon is ushering in a new tightness between people, despite, that's the thing, despite what you've done and what you have. Usually we've been honored and offered grace if we've done something good. So, for example, we went fishing, we caught the fish, and then we get the hugs, or we get the pat on the back, or, we've tried so hard, we work so much, and then we've come back to our family, and the family gives us the place, at the head of the dinner table. We are thinking it's like that. It's like we've got to do it, and then we will become better off for people. We'll receive, we'll gain, we'll be appreciated. But during this particular kind of time, sometimes it's not about that. It's actually really amazing, because I'm feeling that it's evolving. The social structure is evolving. The social climate is evolving. Like, we can just give each other hugs and pats on the backs just because we are, not because we've done something irresistible, not because we've created something great. I feel there is something very new about this type of moon, because I've never seen it before, as we're just holding each other as a little web of people, like a ecosystem, like a social network, some kind of a stronghold, like a tight community. And that's really, really great to see. I feel that this kind of moon is really pure for any kind of women's rights, but in a way that is different. We've got direct Venus, and Venus rules Taurus partially, and it's a really, really, really nice time to have a look at the woman in your life and the womanly ways, the very virtuous ways of the feminine, instead of yelling or screaming or being really, really harsh about how things have been for women. It's actually really nice to be able to knit together, to sit together, to talk together, to go hiking and tramping together, to follow each other, to walk alongside another woman, to be able to be in circles with women, and to see how far we've come as a species in terms of gender and in terms of our identity, and how we click with each other, and how we don't control each other anymore, and how we can just sit there and look at each other's faces. It's a really nice time to control nobody, actually. It's a really placid time to do that. But if you don't like being around people unless you can be in a controlling role, that shows. Unless you can see it as something that you can have helped by another, maybe listen to somebody else's story, or maybe listen to how somebody else might be explaining you to another, or expressing you to another, how another person introduces you and how another person looks at you. So have a look at how people react to you. If you cannot sit still and you have to, say, for example, it's a very feminine wound, like cook and clean, just to be part of a collective, like, oh, everybody's at my house, I've got to go cooking and cleaning, just, to show that I'm a good host. It's actually not about that. It's more about listening and seeing how people are towards you, and we will really gently usher you onto the best frontier for you, because with calm words and calm actions, you might actually be soothed into a new frontier of social interaction for yourself. You're somebody who is always trying to do a lot more than you should. It's a very, very, very nice time to be compatible with somebody, actually. It's really nice to be compatible, and maybe even to compete with your former self only, but not to compete with another person, because we are offering each other gifts during this time, especially during the later part of the week. I have a feeling that there is some kind of a gift that could come from another. There is definitely like a hand-holding feeling. Somebody can touch you and like love you in a way that perhaps you haven't been touched and loved before. Maybe you are led away from your current situation into another. Somebody just grabs you by the hand and leads you away. That's very likely for a lot of people. It's almost like we got angels about. We got angels around us, and people are very angelic to each other. It's like they touch each other and they listen to each other and they hold each other in such a beautiful, pure way during this month that is coming. But it's also a very, very, very unique opportunity to really connect in a basic human way, with no need to become anybody else. I feel with the retrogrades and everything, everybody's already like knocked a few bruises on themselves, you know, to them. They've done some damage to themselves. They've stressed themselves out a bit, and they've found terrible things maybe, and very good things, lots of different things, lots of lessons learned. And now that we sort of like come together by the fire as a species, as a group, you know, as a common destiny, maybe, I feel there's many of us who are welcoming each other now. I feel that the communal fire is lit. I feel there is definitely a chance for a certain type of inner longing for just that, just to sit around and to look at each other's faces and to hold each other still. It's a very beautiful time for crying babies being soothed. It's a really nice time for somebody who's always crying and always upset to be held. It's a really womanly or feminine time to be attending to somebody who is never still because they got too much childhood trauma to deal with. We can wipe away each other's sorrow during this time, because definitely it feels like an amazing portal to just soothe away yourself and another through touch and through gentle, simple reminders of how kind and uncunning people are, how gentle and generous people can be, and how much we have learned as a species. So many thanks to you. So many thanks to you. If you like this report, please subscribe. Would love to see you on my channel. Also, if you want, you can, you know, recommend to your friends if you found anything useful here. If you would like a reading, I've got some time later on, maybe early May. At the moment I'm sort of starting something new, creating a new website and doing a few different things. And I'll see you very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.